Welcome to Season 2 of Path of the Brush. Let's sling some paint. Whoa! How you all doing? Hey everybody, welcome to Path of the Brush. I'm your host Rick, aka Tabletop Santa, which I wasn't sure if everybody knew this, but that's a nickname that I got on the socials. So with it being so close to the holiday, figured why not dress up and act the part, right? I'm all falling apart over here. It's supposed to go around my neck. There we go. Ho ho ho. All good to go. All right, there we go. So, wow. So tonight we're going to do a little bit of a season 2 and 2023 year in review. And I'm also going to be working on a hill giant from WizKids, which I think is going to be super fun because I'm going to do them up as like a Santa's helper. So, welcome everybody. We do appreciate y'all joining us. Say hi in the chat so I can get by looking at your Twitch screen name, your account name, I can tell whether you're naughty or nice, and I'll let you know what I think of that, if whether you are on the naughty list or the nice list. So yeah, I'm going to be working on this hill giant right here. I know he looks a little grumpy, and he is. He's a little grumpy because he has to carry and protect all the gifts for Christmas. This is the helper that helps actually load my sleigh, the tabletop Santa sleigh. So they're part this thing. So 2023 season 2, we did a lot this year, or since after Gen Con, because season 2 started after Gen Con, right? Painted a lot of miniatures, Battletech. We painted some Animal Adventures. We painted some Conquest, some D&D, Star Wars Shatterpoint. Which was the ones that you, Mark and Will, enjoyed? Sneaky Prime. I have started no significant fires this year. I'm told that puts me on the nice list automatically. Okay. I would agree. It does put you on the nice list automatically. But I feel like there's a little bit of a sneakiness to you because you snuck right into our chat. This is going to be the loudest and the worst. I apologize. Come on. There we go. That hill giant did not want to come out of that plastic. All right, there we go. Look at that. He's a beast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Santa's helper. We were going to have to come up with a name for this guy right here. So, favorite thing for me this year, as a year in review of Path of the Brush and just life in general, was we opened a game store here in Lansing called Hoplite Games, and it's doing very well in that it's becoming a place where people just want to hang out and enjoy the hobby of play. And we've had nights now. This past Friday, we had like 20 some people in the store just playing games and having fun, and it was wonderful. And I'm really excited to see how 2024 is going to go with the store, because we're going to be celebrating a couple things. The address is 2024 East Michigan, and it's going to be 2024. So how do we synchronize that into something super fun, right? We got to figure that part out. Uh-oh. My warrior skin. The poor tip popped off. It got lodged in the cap. Super sad, but here we go. All right. The other cool thing about 2023 is Gamma. The Gamma Expo back in March was where I talked with Peter Atkinson, the owner of Gen Con and the owner of Gen Con TV here, and he asked if I would have any interest in doing a painting show on the platform. So big shout out and thank you to Peter and all the crew over at Gen Con TV that help us behind the scenes in their own ways to have a successful show. It is amazing and super awesome. We also have a podcast that we started or rebranded from being the Michigan GT podcast to now the Citizen Gamer podcast, which is pretty cool. And we recorded episode 4 last night. Got to go to a lot of different conventions, as we always do, and interact with publishers and friends, the con friends, which is really interesting because some folks in the space you only get to see at conventions, and that makes it kind of even more special when you get to go and you run into folks that you only see at the shows. Like, they may not be a vendor, or they may not be a publisher or work in the space, but they're always at shows, and they're always like, "Hey, it's good to see you." It's awesome. All right, so we are live and talking about 2023 in general. I think one of my favorite episodes was the one that we did when I was at PAX Unplugged. No, not PAX Unplugged. Origins, when I did it from the Airbnb.
And Hell Waffle. The Hell Waffle. That was fun. You had the people like coming in and out. You're like, no, I'm streaming. You're like, hey, you want to get some pizza? You're like, no, we're streaming.
It was fun.
Yeah, I was going to do a quick recap of of what we got for season 2. Was the first season 2 episode was Dwarven Forge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Episode 2 was God Tier. That was a fun one.
It was.
We did the Whiz Kids. SWSP.
Star Wars Shatterpoint.
I wish I wouldn't have, made that acronym. Weird,
yeah.
C7.
Cubicle 7. Where we talked about the Warhammer RPG.
Yep. Van Ryder.
Nice. Final Girl. Talk about a sneak attack. That product is so popular at the store.
That's a standalone, right?
Yeah.
After that, we did Steam Forge.
Nice.
Warzone. We got Warzone back. Alex was back on. What else did we do? Episode 10. That was more Shatterpoint.
Yeah, we returned to the terrain.
Yep, the terrain. Marvel Zombies. That was fun.
Super fun. And here's the Hulk right there.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what Jeff did with that Galactus, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, Conquest.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I've got my dinosaurs in the box right here too.
Norse Foundry.
Yeah. Usually known for their dice, but have a few little miniatures in their offerings as well.
Then Fallout. That was fun. That was a good one. So we did the whole post-apocalypse movies, and we go down the rabbit hole, you guys know.
Yeah.
Last week we did the Senjutsu.
Oh yes, the samurai one, which was really good too. That miniature turned out really nice. Yeah.
Following the whole Path of the Brush.
Yeah, super fun. And now we're doing the final episode of season 2. A hill giant who is going to be Santa's helper. I kind of feel like I'm going to give this one away.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So if you're watching, make a comment. And someone who comments hashtag tabletop Santa will be entered to win this miniature. And we'll send it off to the winner. Because who doesn't want a grumpy old hill giant helper of Santa? It's like, that old man just makes me carry this stuff from the workshop to the sleigh every year. And if that's his one job, why would you complain? Once a year you have to carry Santa's bag? Come on.
Right, he probably gets to eat some cookies out of the deal, right? All the milk and cookies he can handle that Santa doesn't want.
Agreed.
That'd be good.
So speaking of like the holiday, this weekend coming up is Christmas weekend, and Monday's Christmas for those that celebrate that particular holiday. But one of the things we tend to like digress into when we're here on the show is actual TV shows or movies that kind of relate to the theme of what we're painting, right? Or talking about. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
I thought years ago I would have said like Die Hard and Gremlins, and everyone would be like, "Those aren't Christmas movies." Technically, technically they are, but I don't know. It's a tough one.
Okay.
See if anybody, if any of the viewers can put something in there and let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe spark some ideas for us.
Yeah, there's always so one of my favorites is one that just came out recently. It's already has a part 2, but it's got Snake Plissken. What's his name? Plissken, the actor. Kurt Russell as Santa Claus. It's on Netflix. For some reason, the title of the show is escaping me. And his wife is Goldie Hawn. Mrs. Claus is Goldie Hawn.
Christmas Chronicles.
Christmas Chronicles. Okay, yeah, that's it. If you have not watched that yet, it is amazing, and he sings in it, and it's great. And it's like, wow.
It is good. It is good. He plays a good Kris Kringle.
Yeah. And then another one I like is just called Claus.
And
The animated one, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just watched that the other day.
And it kind of speaks to like the origin of Santa Claus, and it's kind of sad.
It is a bit sad, right?
But I really enjoyed it. And it's funny is I kind of feel like this whole Santa thing has been like haunting me my entire life. Right. When I was in 5th grade for the Christmas play, I played Santa Claus. And it's like ever since then, I've been like labeled as this jolly elf person or whatever. I don't know.
Fell into the role of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Hey, if this the whole game thing fails, you could always be a mall Santa, you know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, should always be a mall Santa. I'd have to let my beard actually go full gray and silver, like you photoshopped it for today's post.
That wasn't Photoshop. That was accurate. No, they actually have a Santa school in Michigan somewhere you could go.
Do they really?
Yeah, look up here.
That's crazy. I would never go to that. Instead of the guy who's now thinking about going to that. Like I said, I'll never open a game store. And yet we did.
Now, for your earlier question, are we only talking traditional Christmas movies or movies that you watch at Christmas?
Yes. Movies that you watch at Christmas.
The traditional one would definitely be like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's got plenty of trivia. Some of the lines from that movie that I can't say right now are ways that my friends say hi to each other throughout the year.
Nice.
But besides that, the Lord of the Rings movies, not only did they come out in December, they always came out in Christmas time. But they also came out right when my now wife and I were just started dating. So she and I always watch them around Christmas time, usually when we're putting up the tree. So that's
awesome.
That's one of our traditions.
I also watched Lord of the Rings during the holidays. That one and Harry Potter.
Harry Potter's good. Yeah. It definitely got.
Yeah, well, there's always like everybody goes out on their holidays, right? But Harry's always left alone during the holidays in some capacity, and or they go to the town where it's close to the Hogwarts and get their first butterbeer and whatever, right? So
Up to no good. Yeah, no, that's fun.
That's right.
What else? A Christmas Story. I actually, as a child, hated this movie because, I had to go to a friend's house and they wanted to watch something. This is my brother is like 7 years older, so we're watching Bloodsport and RoboCop. And then I got to go watch Christmas Story, and I was like, "What is this?" And now I get it. It's funnier.
Okay.
My wife's like favorite Christmas movie, so I bought her the Red Ryder BB gun and all that.
Yeah, it's funny as my brother goes for Christmas Eve, he goes to a Chinese buffet as for Christmas Eve dinner. Him and about 15 of his friends. They've been doing it for years now. And I went last year, I believe, and the year before. And they're a lively bunch, and my brother's friends. So
it is open. It is open. That is interesting. Yeah, we used to do that on Christmas Day. One part of the family. This other place was open. It was easy.
yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. Now we'll do like on Christmas Eve. We'll do usually takeout, and it's not your traditional takeout. It'll be like Indian food or something crazy. Not that Indian food's crazy, but it's not your typical
Not
like
traditional.
Unless you're Indian, and then it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not a traditional holiday.
Yeah, holiday, right? So it could be, Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, for all the Festival of Lights. Happy Festivus to you out there.
Yeah.
But that school is called the CWH, or Charles W. Howard Santa Claus School, and it's in Midland.
Huh. That's not too far.
He looks legit. He's like petting the whole reindeer and everything.
Is that the one that has the Polar Express that goes to it? Because there's a train ride that you can get tickets to that'll take you to a small, like, Christmas themed town. And I took the kids down there once a long time ago. And then whatever town you end up in is like off the map.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that thing sells out. There's two of them, I guess. There's one in the UP, and this is all Michigan talk, folks, but in the UP, and then there's one, locally. Let's look at it. But it sells out. It comes out in August, and it sells out within like hours or whatever.
That's super cool. So Santa is also known by other names: Kris Kringle, Saint Nick, Tomten in Sweden. He's called Tomten. So, what are some other names that you can recall Santa being called?
Odin.
Odin. Nice. I mean, it is kind of an Odin myth.
It absolutely started with Odin. He would go into chimneys and give people gifts.
Nice. I've also heard that Saint Nicholas was a real saint, and that they claim he's the Father Christmas that we all are familiar with. But I believe that it's a combination of the Odin myth and Nicholas's exploits.
Myths cross-pollinate all the time, and it's awesome. I love when that happens.
Yeah. I like it more as the Odin myth.
Just keep it fun.
Right.
And Rudolph, he was added much later. Is that correct?
From what I understand, Rudolph was literally a marketing thing to
like in the 50s, right? They came up with the song and really pushed the holiday.
All right. So the bag on his back is going to be red for Santa's sack, right? And it's going to be slaughter red.
What color is Santa's sack? Slaughter red?
Slaughter red. Yes. It only makes sense. Because he slays.
That is pure unconcentrated dad joke right there.
Thank you.
What color did you do on his thighs?
On his thighs? In his flesh?
It's flesh, yeah.
I did warrior skin as a base, and then I'm going to go through with another color to lighten it up on the hide spots.
I do like painting miniatures of that skin.
Yeah. You know who would say I should be using airbrush? Our good friend Jeff, who was here for when we did Conquest. All right. But never.
I do like a good airbrush myself, but it's tough when you're streaming. You don't want to hear a. What was that? Yeah, it's not as good. We should do a little trivia here. Let me get something going.
Yeah.
If airbrushing was a church, he would be the Pope.
Oh my God, yes. Or at least a cardinal out spreading the good word.
Now, back to the reindeer thing. I think the reindeer, like the sleigh, Santa's sleigh, got its start because of Odin's horse Sleipnir and his 8 hooves, and that turned into the sleigh.
Because how many reindeer are there?
There's 8, isn't there?
There's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta research this more. This is interesting.
Mythology is fun. I love, especially Norse myth. I mean, Odin touches just about every mythology that came from Europe.
For some
Valhalla.
facts. Fa la 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 la, Valhalla la. Yes. So good. All right. So the bag is actually looking pretty cool. It's also got like some netting on there, which is also neat. So we're gonna figure out what the netting will be. I feel like his pants are gonna be a very festive green, or a still regardless, it'll be green. Whether it's can be discerned as festive or uh, just grimy old hill giant, doesn't matter. Still holiday colors. And for everybody watching and hanging out with us, again, say something in the chat. Say hi. We appreciate y'all. And if you type in hashtag tabletop Santa, you could be entered to win this miniature. We'll send it off to you after the show and after I get it fully completed, because I'm pretty sure this big boy isn't going to be done in the episode. So yeah. So 2023 as again a year in review, and I feel like a lot of the interactions I've had this year with folks has been super positive, and I'm really happy with like the friendships that I've made and fostered, and uh, um, maybe like what's the word for maintained friendships? Like the friendships I've maintained and continue to um, be a part of, and they've all been so good, and it's like a highlight. So everybody in that arena is absolutely on the nice list, except for Mark. No, Mark, you're the top of the nice list, brother, right next to Will, because Will, you're uncannily nice.
I think Will's nicer than I am.
Okay.
To my face, at least.
There we go. And also behind it.
Nice. All right. Yeah, the Santa's sack here is crazy, but I think it's going to look really cool. So between the two of you, what's something in the gaming arena that really stuck out for you this year?
For me, the trip to Adepticon was a big deal. It was my first Adepticon. This is wild. This is huge. Yeah, I went 4-1 in the Age of Sigmar tournament, which was a huge deal for me. I was over the moon for that. Besides that, then we did the team tournament, and we actually placed and got medals, which I was also over the moon. It was the team I was actually a sub for, so it was I subbed in because a couple of the guys that were in that team made it to the finals. It was a wild ride. It was a whole lot of fun. I can't wait to go this year. I'm hoping to get one of those VIG passes, because just skipping that line. That line's crazy. Such a long line.
Agreed.
And then getting wholly into Conquest over the course of the year is that's been a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. Conquest has been fun, and you're now a Vanguard, was that announced last year, or was that a this year thing as well?
That happened this year, like halfway through. It was after Adepticon when I asked things. I got so excited and started pitching it to my friends and realized I was doing the thing that they said Vanguards do. So I was like, hey, guess what I'm already doing?
Nice.
And it worked out.
Perfect. How about you, Mark? You've had some interesting game-related events happen this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the Depticon, just saying a little bit. Might be a little technical difficulty. You guys hear me coming in?
I do not hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, going to Depticon for the first time, and then Gen Con, of course. When we went to Gen Con, I think that was huge. Seeing it from more than just the consumer side of things, and then infiltrating that way, and then trying all sorts of games that I never really would try before. Even got into some trading card games recently, like the One Piece, and I never was a Magic guy. More of like board games, and then war games, and then starting getting into some cards and stuff too, which is kind of fun. It's like the collector scratches that collector itch, and then like organization side of things, and you can actually play it too, right? So, it's just been super fulfilling. But like you said, I think the friendships is probably the biggest thing, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, it's all about having fun, and you can enjoy the people that you're hanging out with. That's great.
I agree. That's a great one. And next year is going to be even, I think, more wild and crazy. Fingers crossed. We've got Adepticon again in, was it March? Yeah.
End of March, right? The 24th, maybe.
And I'm actually going to be teaching a painting class at Adepticon this year. I'll be doing it for Weird as I don't know what. So I'm doing a painting class for Weird at Adepticon, but they want to make it more of a spectacle than which is how I prefer it anyways. So we'll see how it's gonna turn out. It should be fun, but I was really honored again to be asked to come and do that, because that's one of the things I enjoy. So like this year, just a couple weeks ago, I was at PAX Unplugged, and at PAX Unplugged, I teach 3 classes, and the classes are called painting miniatures for 3 feet away, right? Because it's an intro class for people that are, apprehensive to paint a miniature. They may feel like they don't have the skill set, because for some odd reason, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus on this, but recently I asked a couple people to come on the show, and both of their responses were that they aren't good painters. They don't want to be seen in that light of not having that skill set. And it's like, I was a little sad, because I'm not a great painter. I think I'm more fun. I'm more of a fun painter and a communicator of paint, like a cheerleader for the hobby, than I am actually good at it. But I see a lot of folks that feel like if they aren't perfect at a thing, they don't want to do the thing. And if you don't paint miniatures and you're not known for it, obviously you're not going to be great at it. But what's really cool is when you're on a program where we're talking about painting miniatures, but we're also talking about other things about the industry and the hobby of gaming and all that stuff. At the end of those episodes, I can't think of anybody that hasn't been on our show that didn't rock star it, right? That were like, yeah, you did a great job. It's literally paint by numbers. So, but hopefully I'll figure out a way to get them impassioned to paint some miniatures, and then they'll be here for season 3. And it's funny, it's been a lot of folks I've talked to. I wanted to get actually some artists that don't do miniatures but do traditional art or comic book art or whatever, that are like really high in their field, to come paint, and they had the same answer. It's like, if I don't do well at that, what does it say to my other paintings, right? I was like, oh, I get it. But
yeah, it's steps, right? So there's technique, but then there's also the steps involved,
right,
which is interesting too. So yeah, out of the gate, you're not going to do that because maybe you're not doing you're underpainting or basing it properly, and then using the correct washes, and then doing the dry brush, like all these like little tricks and tools in your toolbox. They might not know right away, but I still think it'd be great. You could flash their beautiful artwork up as they're painting, and then at the end, it's really about the conversation.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. But so maybe next season we'll be able to grab some of these folks and bring them on. But we'll see. Next season is going to be maybe a little different because there are only so many publishers that we can paint their miniatures over and over again. Granted, I could do an entire season where we just paint WizKids miniatures because D&D is, one of my favorite, I don't want to say it's my favorite toy. It's my favorite toy. And next year is the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, so it almost could make sense in that regard. But we want to highlight new miniature companies and new resources in the hobby that are coming out next year. So I'm sure we'll have plenty of D&D themed content to support the 50th anniversary, but I'm hoping we'll get a lot of miniature companies on board as well to let us show off their new product and get people hyped and excited.
Have you ever ran a holiday? I think we talked about like you've done a Halloween driven like one-off, one shot type
Like a
little
D&D
mini campaign. Yeah, have you ever done like a Christmas or a
I've done
holiday
Christmas
theme?
ones. I've done Christmas ones where I actually did it during the pandemic. I had I was actually doing a live stream RPG series called the Stormcrest Chronicles, and the folks that were part of my team, were the players. One of the episodes was kids were being stolen from a town, and they ended up actually joining forces with Santa to find these kids, and it turned out it was a version of Krampus that was stealing the kids, and that version was a false Krampus because Krampus in my lore for my game, or the Krampus-like creature, it's still Santa. It's just Santa manifests to the children based on whether they're naughty or nice. If they're naughty, Krampus appears and does Krampusy things. If they're Santa, if they're nice, they get
Krampusy
Santa.
things. I love it.
They have the branch, and he spanks them with the branch. He doesn't necessarily steal them, but he's the one. Krampus leaves coal for the kids, and if they try to be awake to see Santa or see Krampus, Krampus punishes them with a spanking with the the pine bow or whatever the branch is.
Is it the Krampus? Is it traditionally is it German, Australian?
It is. From what I understand, it's German.
Mm-hmm.
But in mine, it's just Santa manifests dependent on whether you're naughty or nice, as either Krampus or Santa. So they were able to find out who it was that was impersonating Krampus, and they were able to save the kids, return them to their homes, and make a new enemy, actually. That would have been a long-term enemy to them. But,
so I got a trivia question for you. In the story, the Grinch, right?
Yeah.
Grinch stole Christmas. What was the first things he stole from Whoville?
I believe.
Don't blurt it out, Will. Don't blurt it out. Let's see if anybody's listening. If they we'll give them like a 2-minute thing. But the Grinch stole Christmas. What was the first items he stole from Whoville?
Okay. Yeah, let's give the people. I mean, we have. It looks like 7 viewers. So if you're watching and hanging out with us, and can respond, please let us. Please communicate with us, please.
I wonder what is the optimum time for people to be viewing, because by the end of the there's a couple hundred that pop up overnight sometimes. So I'm like, when are you watching? So
yeah,
leave us a little note. It'd be interesting to find out, and it's global, so people could watch at different times.
Yeah, I mean, I have a thought. I can't remember exactly but I have a thought. But I want to make sure that the 14, 13 people watching right now, if you know the first thing that the Grinch stole from Whoville on the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, let us know in the chat. Also, if you're just now jumping on in the chat, put hashtag tabletop Santa and you'll be entered to win the miniature we're painting today, which is Santa's helper who helps load the sleigh up with Santa's sack of gifts.
Has anybody gone to the Googles and looked? Because that's what you do at home, right? Shouldn't, but
You
should do.
shouldn't.
Anybody up there yet? Anybody say anything?
Nobody's saying anything.
All right, we should just let the cat out of the bag.
So I think it is stockings.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right.
I thought it was the lights, but maybe he came back for those later.
Off the tree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, still the stockings. Do you have a favorite Grinch movie? The original?
Yep, the original is my favorite. I think Walter Lantz was the artist, and Boris Karloff was the voice and narrator and sang the song. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. It's Boris Karloff, and that voice is amazing.
Yeah, that is great. And that is the best one in my opinion as well. Without that, Jim Carrey couldn't have, emulated it. But he did a great job. Jim Carrey did a good job on it. And the new one's supposed to be done well. I have not seen the newer animated one that came out.
Okay.
But yeah, that came out in 1966, the original Grinch.
Nice. Was it Walter Lantz was the artist?
Let me dig into this real quick.
I have a little story about the newer animated one. That one is good. My family and I went to see it a few years back. It was actually at the time we were going to Ellie's place, and that was something that they did for all the families. They let them all go to a private screening of it, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
But our family has a very goofy tradition that we do for Christmas. We have one ornament on our tree every year that we put up prominently, and that's the Christmas dragon. And our little tradition is that if we don't dance for the Christmas dragon, he will burn our house down.
Jesus.
So we have to dance for the Christmas dragon. Every year we have to do it.
That's crazy, but awesome.
And in the new animated Grinch movie, there is a Christmas dragon on their giant tree, and it gets loose, and we like, they didn't dance for the dragon, and then
yeah, that's wild.
So it reinforced our silly little tradition.
I can dig it. So another fun fact about the Jim Carrey Grinch, when I worked for Diamond Comic Distributors and Alliance Game Distributors, at my offices in Timonium, Maryland, we had the prosthetics for the Grinch costume when he's dressed like Santa, and when he was the little boy shaving his face and he had the little spots of tissue all over his face. We had the facial applique for that. Yeah, it was great. We had all sorts of weird stuff like that around the studio. We had Beast's hands, his hand from his costume. Yeah, Kelsey Grammer's hands as from X-Men, and we had from Lois and Clark. I think it was The Adventures of Lois and Clark with Dean Cain as Superman. We had his original costume from the show there as well.
Wow,
we had
that's cool.
From the World's End with they had Danny McBride in it and everybody where the world was coming to the end and they're all trapped in the house.
Yeah, this is the end. Yeah,
this is the end. Yeah. We had Danny McBride's costume or outfit from that. We had we had a bunch of stuff. The bad guy from Bad Boys 2, who wore the white suit. We had his white suit on a mannequin. Spider-Man's costume from Spider-Man 2 with Tony McGuire or Toby.
McGuire. Tony McGuire. A lot cooler if it was Tony, Yeah. Hey, I'm Tony McGuire.
Yeah.
Who do you think the director was, or the animator? Chuck Jones, did you say?
Chuck Jones. Was it
Yeah,
Chuck Jones?
Animation and cartoon
I said
director.
Charles Schwartz.
Charles Schwartz.
Which, if Chuck Jones was the right answer, obviously, because or Charles Lance.
Yeah.
There was animators Ken Harris, Abe Levito, Ben Washam, Dick Thompson animated the special, respectively. But there's a whole crew of them.
But the primary one is Chuck Jones.
Chuck Jones.
Because it was his animation style, and I believe he's also the animator for Ricky Tikki Tavi.
I love that. That's a great one. The Mongoose, versus the old, what's it?
King Cobra.
Yeah, King Cobra, right? But yeah, obviously based off of Dr. Seuss. But yeah, it was a television series, or a special rather, in 1966, that's fun.
Was it Walter Lantz that did Woody Woodpecker? Because I can remember like the signature, and then a horse would ride in with a lance and go through like the.
Yep, Walter Lantz was Woody the Woodpecker.
All right. All the old animations, so good.
Did Chuck Jones do the voices too, or a lot of the voices? The Warner Brothers had like some incredible voice talent all in one guy.
That was Mel Blanc. Yeah, well, Mel Blanc was Looney Tunes, which was amazing. And then his son did like a lot of them as well after his dad passed.
Yeah, they had those two syllable guys, Chuck Jones. Yeah.
And Mel Blanc. When Mel passed away, one of the most iconic imagery is a microphone, and all of the Warner Brothers characters standing around it and like with their heads down in silence. It was like, wow, it was powerful.
Yeah, it looks like Mel Blanc characters: Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Tweety, Yosemite Sam, but then gets into like the Barney Rubble, like Hanna-Barbera stuff. Barney Rubble, Sylvester, Foghorn Leghorn, Speedy Gonzales. These are, it must be alphabetical. I mean, it goes on, right? Elmer Fudd, Woody Woodpecker, Twinkie from Buck Rogers.
Bitty, bitty,
He was Twiggy.
Nice. Okay, Buck. So good. It's funny when you think about like those old Christmas animation, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, and the Grinch. How much music is in those shows, right? And how iconic a lot of those songs are. I mean, just Frosty the Snowman by itself as a song is so good. Because there must have been some magic in that old straw hat they found, right? And Christmas magic is, I don't care what anybody says, it's real. It really is.
Though Frosty, I do love that song. It says Rudolph's first appearance was 1939 here, according to Wikipedia, that it first came out. Interesting.
And what did he appear in? Because it wasn't his own show.
His own show.
Was that stop motion stuff?
No, that was 64. So let's see here.
Look at all this Christmas trivia we're dropping bombs on y'all. So if anybody watching has any Christmas trivia, let us know. Or fun Christmas facts.
I guess it was a book just called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by Robert L. May, but yeah, 1939.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, interesting. But I do love the stop motion one, the Island of the Misfit Toys. Like that's the coolest ever,
Yeah, that was super fun. With
and Bumble, the Impossible Snowman. I mean, he's great.
Right.
He doesn't want to be an elf that makes toys. He wants to be a dentist. Like going back watching it now, it's like so much.
What was that elf
so much
name?
better.
Herbie.
I think so.
Herbie the elf.
No, it's not her. It's like her.
Is it Huey?
No, it's like he.
What's his name? Look it up.
I don't know.
Get on them. Get on them Googles. I agree. People should be chatting with us in the comments. Alfie? No.
Oh, Hermie.
Hermie. Okay. Hermie. But Yukon Cornelius is one of my favorite characters.
Just because when he's like got his pickaxe and then he like licks the like nothing. He's looking for gold.
Like, looking for silver and gold. And he's like, nothing. It's like, I mean, of course, nothing, because that's not how you do it, buddy.
I've been digging in this ice, so I can't find any sort of
no silver and gold.
That's great.
Could you imagine? I think that would be a super fun idea for a D&D campaign, or at least a one shot. Is you and your companions have to go to the island of Misfit Toys, and to rescue a toy that had found its way there.
Just play out that one scene, you know.
Yeah, with the lion that's like a chimera. He's got the wings and everything. It's like I'd make it a chimera, right? As the king of the Misfit Toys.
Would all of Earth turn into like the island of Misfit Toys if like some rogue asteroid flew to Earth in the year 2000?
No, because we all know that what happened in 1994. Yeah. When that rogue planet collided between the rogue planet from outer space collided between the Earth and Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction, where man's civilization was destroyed, right? But 2,000 years later, everything kind of turned out, or in the year 2000s, right? We'll go with that. But it was a strange new world filled with savagery, sorcery, and super science. We got people talking about Neuralinks and what's a satellite web stuff that Elon's got going on. Space Link, all this super science, right? But one man, good friend of mine actually, he burst his bonds to fight for justice with his companions Ukla the Mock, which is a cat, by the way, and another friend, Princess Ariel, not the same one from the Aladdin movies, but close. And with his strength and courage and his fabulous sun sword, he is Thundar the Barbarian. I was wondering if we're going to be able to get it in today. There we are.
I'm pretty sure that rogue planet left the North Pole untouched.
Oh, yeah. Well, Santa Claus, who is my brother-in-law twice removed and married my sister's roommate's cousin, has a force field shield dome that surrounds all of the North Pole where he resides. So yeah, he would be relatively safe. It's weird that he doesn't share that technology with the rest of the world.
No, it's probably Wakanda that shared it with him.
I would agree. Because I'm betting he probably lives over a deposit of vibranium as well.
So these Misfit Toys, there's a Charlie in the box.
Mm-hmm. And Charlie in the box.
He's a little like curmudgeon-y looking fella. There's Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
Dolly for Sue. Why was she there though? She looked kind of normal. Do you remember?
She was a doll, a baby doll, right? There was something about she didn't cry or something. I can't remember her malfunction.
Oh my gosh. And then there was the spotted elephant,
Mm-hmm.
That's guy. Just cowboy character. Just a random cowboy character. There's a little train guy.
I don't remember what his malfunction was either.
Sad Scooter. There was like a pistol. There was a gun.
A pop gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That weird bird. Like a tugboat.
Mm.
What's this thing? The weird bear with like a feather on its tail.
What?
Anyways. They seem so much cooler when I just first thought of them. But they had the wild airplane. There's a mouse. Toy soldiers.
They're all still pretty cool.
They're pretty cool, yeah.
And who's the king of Misfit Island? Did they actually give a name to that character other than the king of Misfit Island?
Chucky.
Is it?
I feel like he should be the king of misfit toys.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be a good holiday movie to watch too. Is Ready Player One. I enjoyed that movie.
Just because you got a little extra time around the holiday, or does it touch on? It doesn't have a holiday theme, though, does it?
It doesn't.
I'm like following all the rules here. I'm like, well, technically, if it doesn't have Christmas in
But
it,
it has all the toys that a lot of people got for Christmas are represented in there. Like you get Voltron, you get the Cyber Frogs, and the little the Mad Balls, right? That were like those bouncy balls, but they were like creepy creatures.
oh yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, and then Chucky is in it. There would have been a lot of D&D references in the movie, but for some reason they couldn't get the rights or something because they talk a lot about Dungeons and Dragons in the book.
Yeah, the book. The book was great. It was like very. If nobody's read it, it's a fast read.
Mm-hmm.
Did he write anything else?
Yeah, Ready Player Two. I mean, come on. Don't make sense. And apparently they're making a Ready Player 2 movie. I think. If anybody knows, let us know.
Anybody chatting at all?
No. There's no chat. Yeah.
We're gonna start dialing this in. We don't need to be live. We can just announce we chat. We're just gonna.
Yeah.
For when that one guy from Ohio pops up. I hope he got his job, by the way.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. That's why he's not here today.
Exactly. He's working for the man now. He's like,
Yeah.
He's in deep.
That's right. So, still putting on all the bases for this character.
What's that piece you're painting right now? Let's get a zoom on that.
It looks like a netting on the back. So I'm just putting that in on the ropes. I'm going to go back on the ropes later that are connecting this to the giant and holding it the sack under there. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to take some gold and kind of dry brush over the high spot so that the ropes come across more gold over the brown. Because I feel like that's what the ropes would be made out of. The cord on Santa's Christmas bag is always gold, like a golden cord. Tells, you know, like the lasso of truth.
The gold cordage.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for next year for everybody watching. And I don't know if everybody else watching has the same kind of excitement that I do in regards to, you know, Dungeons and Dragons. It is, like I've said earlier and many times before, it's my favorite game. It's my favorite toy. And with next year being its 50th anniversary, I'm really interested to find out what is going to be taking place and coming out from the publisher, from WotC, and all the other companies that are associated with Dungeons & Dragons. That's either third-party publishers or just event spaces that have a focus around the game as well. So like Gary Con and Gen Con, Gamehole Con, they all are very much Dungeons and Dragons focused in things that they do. So I'm really excited to see how it is going to be highlighted and promoted and celebrated next year. So
Have you heard the rumor mills from like I see when 5e is going to become, the
1D&D?
next edition? Yeah.
I don't know when they're actually going to launch 1D&D, but it is supposed to be next year. It'll probably be Gen Con.
Right. That'll be interesting.
Agreed.
And they've been selling so much 5e stuff. It has to be like, obviously, generally they're backwards compatible for a lot of things, but hopefully it doesn't. I know a lot of people want it to go back to more of like 3.5 a little bit.
It will not be.
No, it can't at this point, right? The cat's out of the bag. But it will be interesting because, I mean, a lot of people are buying up 5e stuff still right now. And like, if I just got a whole stack of new books, but that's the way the industry rolls, right? I mean, if like Warhammer, you got a new book coming out every year and the meta changes every time, like a new army comes out, and that really, keeps things fresh.
It does. I don't think that people are going to be overly upset with how things are going to progress. That 1D&D isn't changing, and from what I've read and what I've seen from the playtest materials, it's not going to be such a huge difference that it's going to require a whole new, release of every book again and every traditional module you've ever played, right? I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be happy with it for sure. I mean, I already know that I'm going to be happy with it because it's a continuation of my favorite game, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm one of those guys that was also okay with 4th edition, not because it wasn't 5th or 3rd edition, but because it was still Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm not going to poo on my favorite thing,
Yeah, it's always good. I know when you had if you're rebalancing, it's a campaign that came out and then they sell you a new book that's just rebalanced slightly or something like that. That could be frustrating.
Sure.
But hopefully it's really creating new content at this point,
So some of the things I'm under the impression is they are going to be expanding their view of the Forgotten Realms, because 5th edition really focused on the Sword Coast, Baldur's Gate, right?
They really did.
Right. So they're going to be going more inland. So we may get some stuff for Cormyr, Zental Keep, the Sea of Fallen Stars, Tantris, Raven's Bluff, Thay. More Thay content would be great. Kalimshan. There's the desert, Honorok Desert. There's so much more to the map of Forgotten Realms. The Shadowdale area, the Dalelands, Myth Draenor. I mean, there's so much. And if they're going to bring out, hey, Tabletop Misfits GM, so much for the 50th incoming, all right? Yeah, there's so much. It's gonna be crazy. But if they expand into the wide breadth that is the Forgotten Realms, so much more content is going to be available, and the lore is going to be just phenomenal. I'm super excited.
There's so much. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I can't wait to share my joy of it with all my friends by continuing to play the game I love. And I feel like with all the things that are going on with Thunderforge Studios, which is the studio space here where we are live doing this, and Hoplite Games and our new Hoplite Heroes program, we're going to probably see a lot more interesting things being produced on our end, where focusing on the games that we love, new and old. And I'm super excited for all those opportunities. Hey, Tabletop Misfits GM, also, if you could drop hashtag Tabletop Santa into the comments to enter to win this miniature I'm painting tonight. Because if you do that, you'd be the first entry and the only entry. go. All right. More red.
More red on Santa's satchel.
That's right. I was worried that I was going to get paint on my garb here because this thing's a pain in the hindsight to dry clean.
Are you using Taco Bell napkins over there? Is that what those are?
What?
This episode is sponsored by Taco Bell.
But yes, they are Taco Bell napkins. Good eye. I enjoy a nice chicken soft taco supreme on occasion when I'm not eating cookies and milk. There we go.
Oh man.
Go ahead and leave burritos for Santa, kids.
As long as they're chicken burritos.
But you got to expect Santa's going to have to use the restroom once in a while, and I don't know if you want to be doing the chicken burritos and then Santa. You know, that'd be the worst. Push open the door. Oh.
Out of the way, kid.
That's the Christmas present you don't want in your stocking.
Right.
A different kind of Christmas miracle.
Ew. But also accurate in its own way. So shout out to some of our amazing sponsors we had this year that helped make sure that we were able to perform. Our brush sponsor and our cup sponsor here was Game Envy. They made the brushes, they make the cups. It's a collapsible cup, which is really cool. One of the things I like about it is you can just set, it's got these little like ruffle ridges on there, and you can set your brush on there when you're done with it or between use. They also make the hobby handle. The hobby handle is a little too big for the model I'm currently painting, but they do have another handle attachment that is a little taller, but it was still too small for this model. They also make this wet palette, the exemplar wet palettes, which are really nice. And one of the cool things is they have with their wet palettes these little brass corner pieces. Let's see if I can pop this bad boy open and show you. Of course, it's not inside. They're in the top here. So they have these copper, they're not brass, these copper corner pieces that you sit inside your wet palette. So when you are between uses and you're going to want to maintain the color palette on the wet palette and you seal it up, it reduces the potential of having like mold and bacteria growth in your palette, which is really brilliant. Yeah, and then we have Mats by Mars, who made the paint mat using our artwork here for our warrior of the brush polar bear there, the guardian of the paint. And finally, well, not finally, we also have the Army Painter, makers of the Army Painter Speed Paint 2.0. And their new brand is coming out next year called Fanatic, which expands not just their paint line, but also the number of paints that are going to be available. It's like 260 or 280 different colors, some total, not counting the already established speed paint line. Yeah, it's ridiculous how many paints colors are going to be in it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, and I agree. And then finally, the big finale is thank you to Gen Con TV and everybody that tunes in, all of you that have tuned in and listened and watched the show. We appreciate all of you and everybody at Gen Con TV, to include our other fellow content creators that are on the platform as well. So if you're not watching them, you should also hit that bell, hit that heart, follow us, subscribe if you can. It looks like they have a subscription thing where you can get it for 25% off your normal subscription rates. So you could get that, or use if you have Amazon Prime, you can actually subscribe for free to the channel as well. It'll be an option when you hit that subscribe button. Use your Prime membership freebie if you don't already use it. But as far as the other content creators on the platform, let's give a shout out to Peter with Peter versus the Machine on Monday. Board Games with the Brothers Murph, who those two are amazing. Dress to Quest on Monday starts at 6 p.m. Pacific. It's a live play D&D game. Wednesdays, us, Path of the Brush, and then Actoroki starting at 9 p.m. or 6 p.m. Pacific. Thursdays, we've got Blood on the Clock Tower and Roll with Rem Arturnis. And then Fridays, Table Takes presented by Gen Con, which is like a weekly news program around the tabletop industry. And then they have game night right afterwards, with the hosts demonstrate their gaming chops at the table for game night. And then followed up by Sarah's Table, where Sarah comes on and kind of spotlights a indie published RPG in a light and comedic way. So there's all sorts of amazing stuff there. And there's so much going on. So go check out all the other programs here on Gen Con TV as well, because if you're missing it, you might be missing out on some really good information and just good content in general. So hit that heart, hit that bell, all the good things. Hashtag Path of the Brush. All right. So we're doing this tree branch with a stone tied to it, because in the event that someone would try to steal Santa's gifts, they would get a good walloping by this hill giant. Oh, the stone should be coal. Yes, a giant hunk of coal. It's a great idea. Because I was sitting there going, do I have a good gray to do this stone? But now that you say it, coal it shall be. So let me get the branch here kind of taken care of. Right. I'm also curious if it's just a big knotty end where all the roots were just trimmed off of it, and it's the base of a tree trunk. Yeah. Right. You wouldn't need to tie a rope around it if it was just part of the branch, the tree itself. Yeah, agreed. All right, getting those little cracks and crevasses. As
One of the best inside jokes of 2023.
Agreed. The crevasse. All right. There we go.
You want hashtag Tabletop Santa or at Tabletop Santa?
Just hashtag Tabletop Santa. Yeah. All right. Let's find a color to represent coal. I don't think I have just a regular matte black with me today. Yeah. There's lots of good colors here. There's not a black.
Let me go hunt one down.
Nope.
Got it?
I do. Yeah.
Coal black.
No, I actually did have a matte black. Yeah. There we go.
Well, what are you assembling over there?
He's over there making a mess. As only Will can do.
Oh, I'm not assembling. I'm assembly line painting, working on more Incarnate Sentinels. We got these guys just doing the fleshy bits.
Nice. That's for Conquest.
Yep. They're so cute.
I put some of those together, but mine look fabulous.
Oh, those are these ones, the Avatara,
Yeah.
like the supermodels.
No, I didn't put those together. The one you just put down.
Like this?
No, I didn't put those together.
Not those? Okay.
The ones you just put down.
The bigger,
Big fellas?
Yeah.
with the jazz hands.
Yeah. I put those together, and mine turned out like they're just like walking fabulously down the catwalk.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Mine look like marionettes and somebody cut the strings.
Yes.
Like mantis, like some sort of praying mantis gone awry.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I'm working on.
Nice. I have a feeling that we'll have a different backdrop / location next year. Not at the beginning of the season for season 3, but for probably halfway through season 3, we'll have a different backdrop and location for the show. Fingers crossed on that. And yeah, one where you guys won't have to be so close to me. Because I know we do get some reverb and bounce on audio.
Yeah, a little bit here. We'll have to do some stuff at home studios a little bit, but yeah, we're in the transition and moving some stuff around to the game store and back. So
yeah, and
humble roots, right?
Yeah, and if things work out as if there were a Christmas miracle, it could all lead to potentially Hoplite 2.0, which would be a larger store where the studio can actually be inside the store and nobody'd even know it. Because we've looked at a building, we have a plan, and if it all works out appropriately and accordingly to said plan, we will have a much different studio space.
Oh, that'd be excellent.
Yeah.
Well, what if that happens? We'll have to raise a glass of
Eggnog?
traditional warm holiday beverage made from mulled wine, cider, orange, cinnamon, and other spices. Do you know what this is called?
Glug.
Starts with a W. That's the hint I'll give you. Now to viewers at home.
Yeah, Gaxian, there is an echo. It's because all three of us are in the same room, and all of our mics are catching each other's audio when all mics are hot. We are going to remedy that in season 3 by having a mic go through a mixer. I think we may have to set up a mixer for it.
I like it. Speaking of this mixed beverage, it is called Wassail.
Wassail? Not Julmust. Look up Julmust. Jul. I think it's MYST. Julmust. Julmust.
Julmust is a soft drink that is mainly consumed in Sweden around Christmas.
Yeah.
During Easter, the name is Paschmas. Oh, like Passover. I made that up, but it's probably true.
Now look up Glug, Glug, and Glug Swedish drink.
Is it Glog?
Glug.
Glogg.
Glogg. Yeah, that's how it's spelled.
It's a cocktail.
Yeah.
Sometimes alcoholic, mulled wine or spirit, especially associated with Sweden. Yeah, it's a traditional Nordic drink. Drunk during winter.
Yeah, and you usually put like almond chips in it. as you're cooking it or mulling it over the stove.
A little sweet almondy flavor.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me, you guys fans of Stroop waffles?
Stroop waffles?
Yeah.
What the heck is a Stroop waffle?
Like two little waffles with a bunch of caramel in between them.
Yes, I'm absolutely a fan of everything you just said.
I just found out like the best way to serve them is you can get Stroop waffles at the grocery store, but the best way to serve them is to get a cup of hot cocoa, like nice and wide, that's steaming, and you put the Stroop waffle on top of that and let it moisten, like melt the caramel inside. This is just blew my mind. This is new stuff. I already loved Stroop waffles, and I was eating them raw like a caveman, like a monster.
Like a freaking savage.
How do you cook this again?
You just make some nice hot cocoa in a big old cup, and while it's steaming, you put your Stroop waffle right on top of it and let the steam melt the caramel.
Yeah,
delicious caramel. Are you here to help me with my conundrum?
Burnt sugar.
Yeah, I don't know if I can help you because it's caramel.
Caramel?
This is not one of those tomato moments.
Caramel?
Caramel.
But people do say caramel corn.
Caramel corn.
But it should be caramel, right?
Yeah.
Caramel's a town in Indiana. Let's get it right.
Right? They got to start getting this right. All right. Gaxian, if you're still watching us, if you put in hashtag tabletop Santa, you could potentially win this model for your collection. The Santa's helper here. We got to give him a name. Is it Clayton? Well, in the show Rise of the Guardians, which is a great Christmas themed and Easter themed and Tooth Fairy themed show, his enforcers are Yetis, but the Yetis are also the ones that make all the toys. It's not the elves, because the elves are like simpletons. And he's like, I thought the elves made all the toys, and he goes, we let them think that, but there's Yeti. So good. And
I'm kind of liking Glog.
This guy's name's Glog.
Glog the something. I feel like he needs a title.
Oh. Glog, the carrier of the sack.
The Jolly Maker.
The Jolly Maker. That's the name of his tree branch weapon, is Jolly Maker. Someone shows up not so jolly, gets a whack on the head with a piece of coal, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, fine, I'll be happy.
Glog the Jolly Maker? Is this what we're calling him?
Yeah, Glog the Jolly Maker. Which is brilliant.
I'm envisioning a special move called the Yuletide. I think you can see it. All right, I'm going with there.
Yes. Well, Yuletide for him would be the name of the the University of the North Pole football team. Yuletide instead of Roll Tide for Alabama. No, his finishing move is the Yuletide, which is kind of like a belly flop body slam. Which I would not want to be on the receiving end of that mess.
Oh, dude's humongous.
Kind of makes me want to use this guy for this Saturday's one shot at the store for the Storm Press Chronicles.
That would be good. I feel like you got to do it. Guardians of the Galaxy, the third one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the band that puts it on. I think they're the old 97s is the actual band, but they sing that whole Santa. I don't know what I want. I don't know how's that go? I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. That old song. He's like, he'll shoot missiles at your toes. That's a great song.
Did you watch the Christmas special, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special?
That's actually what it's from. Yeah.
Okay, it is amazing.
It's really good.
In that, was it Drax and Mantis steal Kevin Bacon to give to Quill as a Christmas gift.
Yeah, you haven't seen this yet?
No, I haven't.
Seems like right up your alley. It's
It is.
really good.
Absolutely up my alley.
We stole the Kevin Bacon. Yeah, Mantis is really good in that.
And you learn a little bit more about Mantis in that too. She is a badass. Like in her fight scenes, you're like, oh my God, Mantis, where have you been all this time? But yeah, she is a scrapper, which I thought was also quite hilarious. It's kind of funny as I'm looking at this sack, it's got like a patch on it that's right here on the back, but the patch's material is the same as his pants, his shorts, as far as like the way the pattern is. So I'm feeling like he used a piece of his shorts to make the patch on the sack here.
I just realized I'm like leaning over my computer, which I have like a very close up bird's eye view, and I'm like leaning over to see the patch.
Glog is a practical guy.
Yeah. Oh no, Santa's bag got ripped. Me put a patch on it and fix it all up. What? I have no cloth, but I have my shorts, and shorts make for good. If they can cover me, they can cover all.
Yeah, patching one sack to reveal another. You know, it's like it's a circle of life.
Circle of life. Also, these were pants at one point, and because they had to use some of his own cloth to make the patch, now they are shorts.
His pantalones.
Yes. It's kind of funny is the accents we give our characters when we play our games, right? So for me, Santa is very much like Russian good guy, right? He's very much from northern Russia. Everything is very nice, right?
Everything's nice.
Yes, he's good, and the children very nice, very good. All of children, all of world. It's difficult though lately to get to America because they feel I am weather balloon and try to shoot me down. And it's kind of cool too is in the Rise of the Guardians, they call him North, and he has the naughty list and the nice list tattooed on his forearms. He's just a badass.
That is pretty. I gotta watch it. All right, here's a Christmas trivia for you. You ready?
All right.
Which classic Christmas movie inspired The Wonder Years?
The Wonder Years. Well, The Wonder Years had that whole like in-head narration. Right. So I would almost say that it was A Christmas Story because that had all that in, self narration as well. But maybe It's a Wonderful Life.
Will, do you have a vote here?
A Christmas Story was the most logical choice to me.
As Spock on the ship, we'll have to go with what Will said. Well, you got it right as well. Yeah, it was a Christmas Story, which is interesting. I didn't know that was inspired by The Wonder Years. What was his girlfriend's name? Winnie.
Winnie
Cooper.
Winnie Cooper.
Ah, what a sweetheart.
Yeah, a lot of young men were crushing on her when she was on that show. My celebrity crush of the era when I was a young man was Who's the Boss? Alyssa Milano. Yeah. She was they had a poster when I was like 14, 15 years old. There's a poster of her in like a hockey turnout, the whole hockey gear with a hockey stick and stuff. That was my poster, and right next to her was a poster of She-Hulk on Muscle Beach.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, she was in Commando, right? As a kid,
She was.
when she was coming up.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that's one of the many reasons Commando is one of the best movies of all time.
Nice.
Yeah, she and Punky Brewster were my crushes of that time.
Nice. I only have one celebrity crush now, and that's Diz from Starship Troopers.
Punky Brewster, who was the guy that was her like guardian or whatever? He'd be like, "Oh, Punky," like all the time, right? Like she'd try to escape. She's like ties the bandana around her jeans or whatever, and she's getting into mischief, and it's just like, "Oh, Punky."
Oh, Punky.
Wasn't he like a butler in another show?
There's always a possibility.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
If not, he had a very butler mentality.
Yeah.
That reminded me. Yeah.
Aren't we all really a butler in another show?
When we're not the main characters of our own program. That's possible.
All right. You ready for some more trivia?
Always.
What year was A Christmas Carol published by the Charles Dickens?
18. I'm going to go with 1884.
I just saw that episode of Doctor Who and I totally forgot. So I'm going to go with the number that Rick said.
Come on, you're not going to guess $1 or something like that. Like Price is Right. It is in the 1800s. What decade in the 1800s?
2.
It was, drum roll please,
1870s.
1843. 1870s is a weird time. Bell bottoms, afros.
Huh?
Pistols. Is that not 1870s? Oh, no, that's 1970s. All right. Yeah, and so what month was it, though?
April.
December.
Dang it.
Yeah. It came right out. They just couldn't print them fast enough, though, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, it is. Oh, my. All right, everybody. Hey, it is 8:30. We're going to go ahead and give this to Shinky Prime, who is right here in the studio. Yeah, we'll have to finish it up. But big shout out, big thank you to everybody that watched tonight. We appreciate everybody. Even if you aren't chatting with us, that we appreciate you watching. And big shout out to all of our sponsors for this year. This is the final episode of Path of Brush Season 2. And so shout out to Match by Mars, Game Envy, Army Painter, Thunderfort Studios, Gen Con TV, and who else? Who am I missing? Pop Light Games, and yeah, Army Painter. Yeah, hit them. Yeah, cool. And we'll see you next year for Season 3. And until then, go to your friendly local game store, pick up a brush, throw on some paint. Don't eat the paint, but it's okay to lick the brush.